Good day, all, and welcome. My name is Yenziwe Mbuyisa, and today I've been asked to share with you all a little bit more on the Sustainable Wildlife Economies Project SWEP. In this presentation, I'll be sharing some of the experiences that we had whilst working on the SWEP project, as well as experiences we had out in the field. And I'll just be sharing what it meant for us to be involved in this project as resource auditors, which is a group of recent graduates who are fortunate enough to be involved in this project. So this presentation is going to be rather anecdotal. I've omitted a lot of the technical details about the project itself, but I believe there are some talks that are given or will be given that offer a more robust overview on SWEP as well as the wildlife economy. So I'd recommend that you watch those first and then circle back to this one, as you'll have a little bit more context to some of the things I'll be speaking on today. But nonetheless, I hope that you enjoy this presentation. I had a lot of fun putting it together. And please do engage on the forum as well. Some of my colleagues are there, and I'm sure they'd be keen to answer some of your questions and maybe even share some of their experiences. All right, cool. So just to offer a little bit of background on the project, SWEP basically wanted to create an evidence database that would show how wildlife-based land uses contributed to socioeconomic developments in South Africa, as well as the role that it played in biodiversity conservation, as well as sustainable land management. And we create this database by conducting surveys with landowners where we'd ask them a little bit more about their property land uses, about their land management strategies, as well as ask them about their socioeconomic activities that take place on their property. So the project had a number of objectives, but I think more related to what I'll be speaking on throughout the rest of the presentation was that it really wanted to employ recent graduates. And with that, it wanted to offer us an opportunity to learn more about the wildlife economy and the industry, as well as to gain some practical experience and also just to expose us to the various networks and opportunities that are available to us. It also wanted to offer us an opportunity to develop our research skills beyond the academic setting, whilst offering us practical experience and an opportunity to improve on our communication skills, which can be very important when it comes to stakeholder engagement. I think, though, most importantly, SWEP just really wanted to give graduates a chance for us to be employed, a chance for us to be involved in some meaningful work, and a chance for us to use our degrees. And I think this project was just so perfectly timed. I think the pandemic had a lot of us feeling weary and second guessing our career choices and wondering if we'd be able to find jobs or even just be able to be involved in some meaningful work. So this project really did help to remotivate and just reassure us that there's plenty of exciting opportunities and work for us to be involved in. So the first leg of the project was able to employ around 37 graduates. And in this picture is just a group of diverse individuals from different academic backgrounds. You have conservationists, social scientists, agriculturalists, environmental scientists, botanists, all of us just keen and eager to learn more about the wildlife industry and the wildlife economy, which we knew very little about before signing up for SWEP. And I think we were just so excited to be employed and just feeling so hopeful that we were all willing to make the most out of this experience and just learn as much as we possibly could. Before we went out into the field, however, we went through a training workshop, which was held up at Assegai Trails in the Eastern Cape. And here we were just introduced to the project as well as the project objectives and the various themes that we'd be looking at throughout the survey. We also had an opportunity to gain some practical training where we were taught how to conduct in-field assessments, which included vegetative surveys and landscape assessments. I think, though, the most significant thing to mention about this training workshop was the format in which it was conducted. The RAs were given an immense amount of collaborative responsibility. We were often asked for our opinions and asked to contribute, and we were just involved in major discussions that affected the final outcome of the survey. We were also given ownership over the project, and we were never made to feel like we were just research assistants or field workers or data collectors, but we were made to feel like we were part of the team and that this project was our own and that our knowledge and our experience, our limited experience, was also valued. And I think that's what we all really needed, to feel like we could use the work or use the knowledge that we had gained from school in a practical setting, and to really just feel like our qualification actually mattered. Another exciting aspect of the training was a visit that we had from the members of WRSA, Wildlife Ranching South Africa, whom were also collaborators on this project. They paid us a visit to express to us what this project meant for them and what they were hoping to gain from this project. And I think the most exciting aspect or the most interesting parts of their visit were these discussions that we were able to have with them, where they expressed to us what conservation and sustainability meant for them as farmers and business people, as well as how they went about approaching these two concepts. I think for most of us, this was our first time hearing the farmer's side of the story, and we really just got an opportunity to reflect on some of the perceptions that we had and why we think about things a certain way, and also just a chance for us to see the various ways in which we can approach land management, as well as understand concepts such as conservation and sustainability. We also had the opportunity to practice our surveys on these members, and they were very reassuring that when we'd go out into the field, we'd meet some friendly people and they'd be quite willing to answer our questions. So the first leg of the project was a pilot study that was done in the Eastern Cape, and in a span of 1.5 months, we were able to conduct 128 surveys, which covered close to 850,000 hectares. And as you can see in this map over here, a majority of the properties we surveyed were within the thicket biome, which I think is quite cool and relevant to this forum. So we'd go out into the field, and I must admit we all were a little bit nervous because we didn't know what to expect, and we'd been told that farmers are really busy. So to ask them to take close to 3 hours out of their day just to sit down with a bunch of students, or greenies, as they sometimes would call us, to answer some questions was not necessarily the most ideal thing. But when we get to the properties, there was a little bit of tension. But after we got through the first set of questions, which looked at the property land uses and property history, the farmers really began to open up to us and got super excited to tell us as much as they could about the work that they're doing on their property and the work that they want to do on the land. And I think the survey was just so well constructed that the interview ended up flowing as a conversation, and the farmers really were able to open up with us and even enjoy the interview themselves. So much so that after the process, some of the farmers actually thanked us for asking some of the questions and said that we had highlighted some things that they had not thought about in a while, and that the interview was genuinely an enjoyable experience for them. After the interview, we went out into the field, and the farmers showed us around a couple of areas on their landscape that we just needed to evaluate. And as you can see in these pictures, the farmers really got into it, showing us all the nitty-gritty, cool things about their property. And they were so comfortable around us. I swear if they could show us across their entire 1,500 hectares, they probably would. But nonetheless, we all had an enjoyable experience, and it was most satisfying to know that the farmers enjoyed the survey as well. So we've also had other learning opportunities throughout working on the SWEP project. One notable one was the Learning Exchange Workshop, which was a workshop that was held to evaluate the first set of results that we had collected in the pilot study. This was particularly exciting for the RAs because for the first time, for most of us, this would be our first time experiencing what actual stakeholder engagement looked like. And the attendees of these workshops included government officials, researchers, academics, and members of the industry who all came together to evaluate the results or the data that we had collected in the Eastern Cape. So just being able to hear how these people from different groups with different objectives understood the results and hear them discuss the results together was just a very nice and enjoyable experience for us as RAs. And also just seeing our results up there, like the work that we had done up there, was quite satisfying. Another cool experience we had was the opportunity to attend the Herding Academy Executive Land Management course, which was up in Graaff-Reinet, where a group of us were able to go and just learn more about land management and learn a little bit more about farm dynamics and pick up some skills. We also got a cool certificate from this project, which I think we all enjoyed and are excited to put on our CVs. But this experience was important because not only did we gain new skills, but it meant that we also gained a whole bunch of knowledge, and which would help us to be more relatable to the farmers, as well as find ways in which we can improve on the survey. And then this is possibly the best exit strategy that I've seen from a project in my entire existence. these employment portfolios which are created or which can be found on the SWEP webpage, which I recommend that you all should go and check out. There's employment portfolios that have been created which have all the credentials of resource auditors and links to our LinkedIn portfolios. This is Sanbi just didn't leave us high and dry, but anyone going onto the website can find all our information there. And if you want to employ someone, there's a whole sort of like page for you to find people that can do some work for you. Another nice experience was we were able to attend an online LinkedIn workshop that was held by, but that was hosted by Jana Liskus from the LinkedIn headquarters up in Ireland, where she showed us a little bit of a few tricks on how to improve on our LinkedIn portfolios to increase our employability. So I've asked some of my colleagues to share some of the lessons that they've learned throughout the SWEP experience, and I've summarized them in these next few points. I think that we all could agree that there is an intrinsic connection in ecology, and it's important for us to be thinking holistically and evaluating how one thing affects another. We also learned that there's a specific art to communication. There is a specific way that you can communicate with people to make sure that you get useful information. And this is a skill that a lot of people need to work on, especially working with environmental sciences. You think it's not important to know how to speak to people, but when it comes to stakeholder engagement, being able to speak efficiently and effectively becomes super important. We also learned that reflection on the perceptions and the knowledge that we have and where we get that knowledge from and other possibilities of understanding certain topics is super, super important. And it's an activity that most of us or academics or researchers should engage in more. We also learned that there is a desperate need for us to review our management approaches. These top-down or bottom-up or private and public ways of managing landscapes is simply not working. We need to find more collaborative ways in which we can discuss the work that we do and how we do what works and what doesn't work and how we can learn from each other. So what does this all mean? There's been a lot of talk on the group, especially about the need for extension officers, people who will be able to conduct desktop research as well as practical research, people who have excellent communication skills, networks, and people who are available and keen to work on projects. And what you have here is a group of individuals who can do exactly that and who would be so willing to be involved in work that involves being outside and working with farmers and communicating with landowners, and who have necessary skills and who have the basic understanding of land management and conservation, and who'd be able to write reports and conduct more sort of desktop research. So if you're looking for extension officers, I think in this group or this project really bred a good group of people that would be able to do that. So I've included this video, and this is just some of my colleagues expressing what this project meant for them. And yeah, let's give it a watch.
Sover is dit 'n wonderlike leerervaring gewees die afgelope paar dae. Ek geniet dit vreeslik baie om met soveel verskillende groepe mense te kan van hulle af kan leer en die verskillende organisasies wat saamwerk is my baie inspirerend.
So I feel like this is a great opportunity to really get a perspective of how the farmers feel about certain aspects that we sort of overlook. And I feel like going into the field and really engaging with them is the sort of way to go when dealing with this.
So for me, a lot of us here have got lots of experience in the university academic setting, and now we're finally getting to use that. We're now the boots on the ground. So I'm finding that practical application of what we've learned in the classroom super valuable and really exciting.
Yes, this was a wonderful learning experience with Sanbi. We've learned so much about wildlife economy, a concept that I've never heard before, and we're learning to interact with landowners. Great opportunity.
You all got a better understanding of how to link up social and economic systems with biodiversity.
Okay, so ek definitief wat ek net gegraduate het sal verskriklik ek waardeer hierdie opportunity baie om soveel te leer aan so verskillende sektore. So ja, ek is baie dankbaar vir die education.
Right, so dit was in die laaste paar dae ongelooflik om die loodindustrie op net op 'n ander vlak te leer ken en die verskillende fasette wat als deel maak van die industrie is ongelooflik en om deel te wees van iets wat redelik nuut is, is 'n baie unieke en goeie ervaring vir ons.
And there you have it. As you can see, we all share the same sentiments. Being a part of this project has been a truly incredible experience for all of us. And thank you so much to our supervisors for just the way that they involved us and made us feel a part of the team. And thank you to all the collaborators, SANBI, the Departments of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, as well as the university and industry partners. And yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this presentation. And I'm looking forward to hearing and engaging with you all on the forum as well.